run the Center for Elevating Women in Sales Leadership, the cool place. And it is my distinct honor to be welcoming our guest today because she actually does a lot for me in many ways, which I'll tell you about in a minute. Today's guest is Dr. Jessica, Samuels. She's a LinkedIn strategist, fractional CHRO, and executive career and business coach with over 20 years of experience in corporate HR, leadership development, and high performance sales. And on a personal note, which I alluded to a minute ago, Jessica is a coach for me on LinkedIn, and she does a session for me as part of the Women in Sales Leadership Forum. So I know her stuff pretty well, and I can tell you without hesitation that she is phenomenal. So make sure you're taking big notes. So as I said, I've hired her as my business coach, and she's done a lot with my LinkedIn profile and helping me get more clients. So, as the CEO of Evolve Career, Jessica helps organizations amplify their corporate visibility. She supports professionals in landing executive and board roles and guides leaders in launching and scaling multiple six-figure businesses, all by using LinkedIn strategically. And her Pacer revenue framework is the foundation of LinkedIn social selling, which she's going to be talking to you about today. Today should show you how to use that environment or as a leader or a business owner by turning charisma and content into conversations, and those conversations into B2C, B2B, and B2G clients with global firms across healthcare, tech, education, and consulting. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Jessica Samuels. Take it away, Jessica.
Thank
You're
you.
muted, Jessica.
Yeah, Gina, you were cutting out a little bit, but I hope everyone heard
Oh,
the majority.
oh my gosh, I'm
That's okay. Was
sorry.
it just me that heard the cutout, or did everyone else?
She was cutting out.
It was a little bit. Okay, just that's
I
okay.
wish
I'll
someone
fill
popped in and
in.
said that. Yeah,
All
because I
all the
was,
all the important things were covered, so you're fine. Well,
let me just say, she's fabulous.
really excited to be
That's
here.
all you need
That's
to
all
know.
we need to know. Good morning, good morning, good evening, wherever you are around the world. I am delighted to be here. You all could call me Dr. J. No need to formalize the Dr. Jessica. That's a new thing for me. But welcome to this LinkedIn Social Selling Secrets. We are going to truly just unpack how you can leverage this tool more if you're in a sales role, whether that is, again, in corporate or entrepreneur. I am the CEO of Evolve Career, and I run an executive leadership and career development firm. This is really going to be for you if you've ever felt the urge to really just use LinkedIn more, but you don't know where to start, or you're using it and you're not seeing the results. Okay. As a small business owner, I serve as a LinkedIn strategist, a fractional chief HR officer, a conference speaker, and an executive leadership career and business coach. And so over the last 20 plus years, I've helped scale companies to $1 million in revenue in 1 year and less. And then I've also supported new C-suite leaders, and then also helped folks launch profitable service-based businesses. And I'm really proud of this is I've organically built a LinkedIn following of 14,000 people. Now, I'm kind of an old school user. I think Fred and I joke around, we joined pretty much when it came out, right? But over, I think, so I'm coming up on 17 years. And the platform has changed so much that you have to stay with it to understand how to leverage it in terms of sales. What I'm also proud of is that my work on LinkedIn has built B2B partnerships with organizations such as National Partnership for Hospice and Healthcare Innovation, NPHI, and then also Children's Institute of Pittsburgh. I've also landed paid speaking gigs with Deerfield Management and Women in Bio. And so if you're looking to boost your corporate visibility, If you're looking to attract high value clients on LinkedIn, that's really going to be our focus for today's session. So I always drop my contact info in the chat in the beginning because otherwise I'll just forget at the end. So that is my LinkedIn profile. If we are not already connected, please send me a connection request. If this information is resonating with you and you know that you need it and your team needs it or other people in your network need it, my Calendly link is for booking so we can have a true strategy session. And then my website is just there for you to kind of know I'm a real person. So I'm going to share my screen now and we're going to just dive right on in. Okay. So if you, let me make sure the faces aren't blocking my content. There we go. How many folks are in the room today? I didn't look at
That
participant.
Yeah,
How
it
many?
looks like we have well over 100.
Woohoo! All right. Well, buckle up because I'm gonna, Gina said it best. I am gonna be going as fast as I can to cover as much as I can. But again, drop your questions and we're gonna have some time to answer those throughout the session. We are going to have polls, so get ready to engage in those. And then we also are going to do a pair breakout session so that you can meet someone that has joined today's session. Just a heads up. All right. So let's rock and roll. I'm sharing my screen. Okay, great. So many of you have LinkedIn profiles. I already know that, but what I want to just show a couple of sections on my LinkedIn profile, just so we can orient some language, right, around this. This area of the LinkedIn, the first section of LinkedIn is called the social card. And why is that important? It's going to take 7 seconds for someone to make a decision whether to stay on your profile or whether to go away. That doesn't matter if it's a prospective client, a hiring manager, a executive recruiter, like whatever it is, you have to wow them. And so this is the billboard section of the platform. What I have highlighted at the top area where the picture behind my profile picture is called the cover photo. Gina just made me laugh and she said, "Oh gosh, this VP of sales doesn't have anything up there." And she knows me, right? She knows that that makes me sad because that is the billboard section of your profile. And it is your job to communicate to your ideal customer or client how you can help them. So I'm highlighting mine, right? I kind of have, I'm not going to say I have a split personality, but I have multiple services that I offer. And so on the left-hand side of my cover photo, I've chosen to highlight more of my corporate HR, leadership growth, executive presence, and emotional intelligence work. And then on the right-hand side of my cover photo, I'm highlighting all the things around career acceleration, business growth through LinkedIn branding, right? In that section, I've also highlighted a way for people to get connected with me, right? Book this session today, and then also my website and logo. So there's a lot in there. It's not about having a lot, but it is making sure you use that real estate in your LinkedIn profile appropriately. All right, and we're going to show a couple of examples later down the line. The other thing is, I mentioned my 14,000 followers, yippee skippy. It's not about having thousands of followers, y'all. I am working with clients that have 500, 700, a few that maybe like 1 or 2,000, and they are landing meetings with their ideal customers, and they are also closing deals. So the magic number is really 500 connections at a minimum, right? Because we have the 500 connections, those connections have second connections that ultimately might be a part of our personal network. The other piece around our profile that I oftentimes don't see is you're not making it easy for people to get in contact with you. If you can see the book an appointment custom button here on my profile, it's right at the top of the profile. I do that because every week I get about 2 booked calls just from having that there. And that could be, again, I posted something or whatever, someone sees the post, or like, "I booked time with you. I can't wait to meet because your post said this, that, and the other." So make it easy for your folks to connect with you. All right. So I'm jumping right out in here just to kind of give you some examples. Again, there is a custom slideshow in the LinkedIn. It depends on if you have LinkedIn Premium or not. Now, I do not get paid to mention LinkedIn Premium. However, I do find it beneficial if you aren't upgrading to Sales Navigator. And so what I'm going to be teaching you here today does not require Sales Navigator. If you choose to upgrade to it, I'll show you some ways that you can leverage that tool as well. But here is another cover photo, right? And so I chose in this second one with the purple background, that essentially is highlighting some of the known brands that have worked with me. So there's nothing better than third-party credibility. Go ahead and put that on your cover photo if that makes sense, if you're working with notable brands that are giving you permission to do that. And again, you're speaking to your ideal customer. So for me, I'm helping people leverage LinkedIn to boost their thought leadership confidence, right? Posting online and being excited about sharing their original thoughts. I want them to use it to land clients. I want them to attract high value opportunities, whether that's boards or speaking gigs, and then overall to increase their compensation because their organization sees them as a brand ambassador of the company, not just doing the job, but they're amplifying the corporate brand. And all of this, the promise that I have to my clients is it doesn't have to take months or years, and you don't have to burn out being on LinkedIn 8 hours a day. Who has time for that? We have real jobs to do and families to take care of. And you don't have to do it with ads. I'm really excited that I've ran an ad on LinkedIn. And I think many business owners that have had my success, they have spent a lot on ads. And so this is a no ad type of workshop today. Some other cover photos that I've used, again, you can, again, depending on what you're looking to attract, if you're looking to attract speaking gigs, you might want to put an image of you speaking somewhere. So again, use this real estate to not only amplify the corporate brand, but speak to your ideal customer in terms of how you help them. Okay. Drop in the comments for me and tell me yes, no, if you've got a cover photo. There is no shame in here. I'm just curious to see what the metrics are around this. All right. I'm excited to share that I've landed speaking gigs using LinkedIn. Again, on the main stage. I'm on the big stage here virtually today. Thank you, Gina and Fred. And I always like to say there's some real results in here. I'm not talking fiction or theory. I've acquired several B2B customers, B2C customers as well, right? Revenue, making multiple six figures in the year by using LinkedIn. So this works. Okay. All right. So who's in the room? This is for you. If you are a corporate marketing and sales leader, right? If you aren't using it at all, if you're not using LinkedIn or you're not seeing the traction behind it, this is for you, right? If you are a professional looking to secure B2C, B2B, and B2G leads as well as deals, this is for you. If you are a corporate leader and you're not in a formal sales role like me that turned into a sales lady over time, my background's in human resources originally in corporate, and you want to create a side hustle. You have a passion where you host events, or you are a stylist, or you are a graphic designer. I don't know what it is that you do, but if you don't want to quit your full-time job and you have a passion that your ideal clients are hanging out on LinkedIn, then this you can take this content for that purpose. And then if there are some entrepreneurs in the room like myself that have service-based businesses and they're using LinkedIn to build consistent 100K plus revenue every year, this is for you too. The one fun fact about LinkedIn that I think is worth noting here is out of all the social platforms, LinkedIn has the highest earning potential. Their average user on the platform makes $100,000 or more, which is great for B2C. But then you have to think about it. Your ideal buyer on the platform is going to be more likely on LinkedIn versus Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. So keep that in mind. If you're not a believer of LinkedIn yet, just give me an hour and 10 minutes and I promise you I'll convert you. Okay. All right. So for the objectives for today, I used to be a teacher eons ago. So I always start out with my objectives here. And this is really important to cover, right? The PACER framework that I created over, again, 15 plus years in running my business and doing sales and corporate, when I was not, again, originally supposed to ever be in a sales role, but I hit the C-suite and then someone said, hey, you got to sell. I was like, all right, sounds good. I got to figure this thing out. So the PACER revenue framework, this is going to help you do a few things, right? It's going to help you with your positioning and your posts. Why we care about that is I want to help you define your authority in your space and to deliver content that is attracting premium buyers. The A is for audience. This is helping you build that premium buyer network within LinkedIn. And the key here is to find the decision makers who can really bring more opportunities in your pipeline. C is around conversations and conversions. I love Google Docs because now we can edit live in the flesh, right? This is to help when you lead your outreach as well as those discovery calls. I just put conversations twice. That's so funny. Conversions is what I meant to put there. There we go. Lead outreach and discovery calls that convert into paying clients, right? We take the conversation off of LinkedIn and we book the call and we have the sales call and we close the deal, right? E, events. Many of you all are not doing events, and that is a shame because there are so many lead generation possibilities. It's crazy. So we're going to talk about how you can leverage speaking, workshops, and LinkedIn Lives to boost visibility and fill that pipeline. And then the R is about revenue systems, right? If you don't have a system in place to do this consistently, you're going to go up and down and up and down, and it's just going to make you feel a little overwhelmed with trying to reach your goals. So we're going to talk about how you can, again, automate sales, onboarding, and delivery within your business or your organization. All right, so this is not for you. If you believe relationships can only be built offline, I am an extrovert. I love relationship building. However, I'm a family woman and I really have to be mindful of how long it takes to go to an in-person event. I am all about in-person events, but I have opened up my mind to say, you know what, I could probably meet 20 new people in a week versus trying to go shuffle to 3 different networking events in a week and maybe I get a couple of cards. So they are on LinkedIn, your decision makers. The second thing is if you dismiss content and social selling as kind of fluff, right? Instead of really understanding that it is the driver of visibility, pipeline, and revenue, you might need a mindset shift, right? The other piece here is if you're looking for shortcuts or quick fixes, that's not what this is. This is, again, a system and a formula for you to utilize so that when you consistently use it, you'll see the results that you're hoping for. And then the last thing is it's if you're not open to hearing how we can partner together to accelerate your results. Gina already mentioned that we partner together to help her and her business. And so this again is going to be very essential for those of you that are looking to boost sales in your organization. All righty, let's buckle up. So PACER, right? We've already talked about the letters, right? So it's again applicable to B2C, B2B, and B2G sales professionals. Positioning and post, audience, conversations and conversions, events, and revenue systems. Okay. So some stats that I think are really interesting about LinkedIn. If you didn't know this, there are 1 billion members on the platform. 1 billion. There is no shortage of leads, is what I'm trying to get at. If you're global, 200 plus countries are on the platform. What I thought was interesting is I found out that nearly 2.9 million federal professionals are on LinkedIn. What does that mean? Our B2G buyers are on LinkedIn, right? They have profiles. They might attend an event. They might comment on a post. They might create a post. So they're on there. Our key customers are on there. 89% of B2B marketers use LinkedIn for lead gen, and 62% of those marketers say LinkedIn produces the best results, best leads. 40% of B2B marketers say it is #1 for quality leads, and 82% of state, local government decision makers vet vendors online through LinkedIn. That should do a mind blown. So Gina, I'm gonna go back in memory lane for us here when I was at the Women's Sales Forum, and we started having this conversation around, so how do you all prepare for a sales meeting? And, everyone raises their hand and says, oh yeah, I go to the LinkedIn, I look them up, I do my research. Yeah, did you ever think that they're doing the same with you? And then the light bulb went off for one of our participants. If you're looking them up, they're looking you up. And if your profile looks like you haven't touched it in a decade, you're losing an opportunity to build trust with your ideal clients. So I'll say that and I'll unpack that even more. Okay. So now let's go into positioning. I want to drop a poll in if you can launch that team, the IEPS team. When it comes to posting on LinkedIn, what's your biggest challenge? Is it defining your niche and value clearly? And this, again, if you're with an organization, think of the services and products that you offer. Is it creating authority-driven content that attracts buyers? Is it knowing how personal to get, right? Kind of balancing this like professional versus being authentic, you the leader. Or is it staying consistent with content creation? And we weren't able to put all of the above, but if you're in all of the above, go ahead and drop E in the chat for me. We'll keep that open for a few more seconds.
Yeah, staying consistent with content creation seems to be the number one
Ooh,
choice, and knowing how personal to get, balancing professional versus authentic is cranking up there as well.
all right. I was very curious to see what these responses were going to be. So, okay, give it about 10 more seconds and then we can end the poll and launch the results for everyone.
Okay.
Mhm.
You know, it's strange, Leslie, Jessica. This is Fred again. I do a lot of business posting, but
Right.
some of the personal ones go through the roof. You know, I have a daughter who's in sales, and I'll post about, she works for the Hershey's Corporation, and once in a while I'll post about her, and 10,000 impressions later.
Uh-huh. It's
Right.
wild, but there's some science behind it. And so I'll speak to kind of how you can balance that in a sec. Okay, great. So, did we launch the poll? Can everyone see the poll results?
Yeah, they're launched there. It's staying consistent with content is 46%.
Okay.
Knowing how personal to get was 25%. Creating authority-driven content that attracts buyers, 15%, and
Okay.
defining my niche. So this was it should be shared. If people can see it, just send a quick note in the
Yeah, can
chat.
everyone do a thumbs up if you can see the poll results? You can?
Okay,
Okay.
good. People can. They're
Gina
good.
did. Okay, perfect.
I'm
Okay.
gonna stop sharing.
Awesome. Thank you, Fred. Okay, so we know where our challenges are, right? The key things here when it comes to the P and Pacer, positioning and post. Number one, right? Defining your niche expertise and offer. So if you haven't thought about how you're packaging or how you're pricing your stuff, just don't even think about getting online. Get that clear first, right? And then the other piece is creating branded collateral. So if you have an offering, do you have the assets that give people a glimpse into what you do easily? Because if you have that branded collateral, that's what will also add to your LinkedIn profile to dangle the carrot to get people that are potentially interested to learn about what you do. They can do it with no pressure. The other piece, right, is using that expert level thought leadership to showcase your credibility and attract ideal clients. The mindset that we have to have is the KLT mindset, right? Know, like, and trust. So if we don't have the understanding that our job, and we know this in sales, most of us know this, right? Build rapport first and don't just jump right into the sale. But if you don't realize that people are meeting you online before they ever pick up the phone or ever send a virtual coffee chat or Zoom request, your job is to make your profile make them feel like they know you and they know who you help and you're the solution to their problems. So if you realize that LinkedIn has a potential to build that know like trust factor, then you'll take that mindset into when you are creating posts. So post formats, right? There's a lot of different types of posts that you can do, but I didn't want to overwhelm you. Let's just kind of start with a few. Polarizing opinions about your industry or your products. If you are spend some time maybe once a quarter doing some market research, figuring out where the market's going, where your competitors, what are they offering, and just saying, I take this stand. I agree with this. I don't agree with that, right? And I think Fred and Gina both do a great job with that. Those posts go bananas because it's like, yeah, finally somebody's saying something, right? The other thing is about problem solving content. Think about it like this. If you know that you're working with a client and they're struggling with a particular issue, you can write a post anonymously and say, look, if I were an XYZ role and I had to solve 1, 2, 3 problem, here's the 3 steps I'd take. You're not necessarily describing your product, but you're describing what your product or service can do. That's another idea. Client struggles, their questions and their results, right? Again, you can keep this anonymous. I know there's some confidentiality with the clients that we work with, but think about it. We're on sales calls all the time. You hear the questions that they say, ask us, you hear the struggles that they have. You see the results that they achieve when they work with you. Go ahead and create posts around that, right? You can also be the student, right? Don't be afraid to ask questions, learning out loud. You can also do a post around behind the scenes, right? You're creating new products, you want opinions, you want customers to weigh in, right? If we took this path or this path, what would be most helpful to people that do this type of work? You can also be personal, right? If you want to support a cause or pursuing a passion, right? Like I love dancing and I love travel. So I talk about those when I'm doing my work content posts and supporting causes, right? I love supporting homelessness causes. We had a person in the Women's Forum, Gina, that was passionate about raising awareness around human trafficking. So that is also an opportunity for you to share a little bit about who you are with your audience. Life updates, right? Celebrating holidays and milestone moments. Again, like Fred said, I'm celebrating my daughter, right? I just did a post the other day. My youngest daughter is going to 5th grade, right? And I'm like trying to hold back tears because she's double digits. Those are really great. So you want to sprinkle in those as well. Now, if you're having trouble with consistent content creation, here's the 3 tips I'll offer you today. Number 1, build a content calendar. The content calendar should have 3 things. 1, it should have your main content buckets. What are your content buckets? They're going to be around what your clients care about. Not what I care about, not what you care about, your clients, your ideal clients. Then when you have those major buckets, so for me, it would be, human resources stuff, it would be LinkedIn branding stuff, it would be career transition and entrepreneurship. So underneath those buckets, now we're going to talk about post topics. So underneath HR, I could talk about AI in the workplace as a post topic. Underneath LinkedIn branding, I can talk about social selling, right? Under career transitions, I can talk about promotions, right? Or salary negotiation. Under entrepreneurship, I can talk about marketing or sales. So do you see those topics? They go a little bit more granular underneath the major content buckets for your line of work. And then the last thing that the content calendar needs is the posting frequency. So you want to identify which days of the week you're going to post consistently, or you want to have a actual calendar like the 31 days and you want to slot, I'm going to do a post on the 4th, I'm going to do a post on the 8th, I'm going to do a post on the 13th, the 19th, the 22nd, and the 27th, right? And map out your month ahead of time so then you know the number of posts you should actually write. The other piece here is leveraging AI tools. I've actually built a custom chat GPT. So a lot of my clients, I'm teaching them how to do that as well, along with post templates. And then don't forget to add a photo to your post, because LinkedIn is all about community. They want to know that you're a real person. And so if you do that, it's going to help even more with your engagement. And the last item here is many of us aren't doing it, and that's why it's not consistent. You got to time block your content. You got to just say once a week, I'm going to crank out and write as many posts as I can. And I call it like the LinkedIn content power hour. And maybe you want to start off with 30 minutes and see, how many posts you can write in 30 minutes. If it's one, great. You've got your one post for the following week and you keep doing that. And so I would just recommend don't write and post the same day. Okay. All right. So we talk about niche and clear offer, right? Many of you, again, already work with organizations and you have your products and services. But again, I'm amplifying this on my cover photo page in the custom slideshow. I've got 4 signature programs: LinkedIn Sales Accelerator, C-Suite Career Accelerator, Career Pivot Academy, and Business Launch Bootcamp. Easy for people to get. Got it, right? In this section here, there is a little record button that you could leverage to either have your name pronounced, or you can do a short 10-second elevator pitch. And then in this headline section, you want to speak to not only just your title. I know some of y'all are guilty. You just say like, I'm this at this company and there's nothing there. Well, I think you're more than that. So put some language in the section that speaks to the whole you and how you help your clients. We talked about the followership. Again, 500 or more is what I'm aiming for every sales leader on this call. All righty. So let's talk about the positioning norm, right? The positioning norm is normally people are like, yeah, corporate communications person, give me a LinkedIn banner if they even care to ask it. And so it looks like this, right? And I'm excited. Chris has a background, a cover photo. I'm happy, yay. But it only says Xerox IT Solutions, proven expertise delivered with a frictionless client experience. Xerox, we make work work. Okay, sounds good, right? We can see the example of what I just shared, right? It's only his title and where he works. Boring. What would really be step up the gold standard is something like this, right? So we have Stacy, not only is she acknowledging AWS and where she works, right? Because we can see the emblem there, but she's bringing in all of her expertise and she's speaking to her ideal client. She is an advisor to them around AWS partnerships. She's an expert in channel sales. She's an alliance coach and she's expert in business development. So right there, she's amplifying to her customer base, I can help you this way. She takes it a step further, and in her headline, she's again aligning or stating her role, but she's also showcasing other superpowers that she has, and she's being very clear on how she can help her ideal client, right? Empowering system integrators to maximize AWS partnerships, build differentiated solutions, and drive repeatable revenue growth. Awesome, right? We could do a post when you go to a conference, right? Maybe you're exhibiting, maybe you're attending, maybe you're speaking. Go ahead and do a post like Frank Snyder. Maybe you want to celebrate an organizational win like Denise Heyman, right? A huge acquisition, right? That got over 200 reactions. And it's not about going viral. I want you to hear me. Some of the posts that maybe only have a few impressions and a few comments and a few engagements get me some direct messages that end up becoming booked calls. So I don't want you to think about this, oh, I have to become a social media influencer. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about posting so that you are consistent to your ideal audience. You could also post an industry expert spotlight. So I was invited recently to be on the Sales Game Changers podcast. So I chose to amplify that. Someone else posted about me, right? And then if you are brave enough to talk about your client wins, right? We want to note the organizations that we're working with. So I did a post with National Partnership for Healthcare and Hospice Innovation. And again, this is a picture of us in our group cohort. I'm giggling and we're all in there having some fun, right? But the key here is in this post, I don't always add a call to action. Sometimes a post isn't supposed to be for that reason. But don't forget to add a call to action in your post. And again, this is an example of a photo amplifying the content. And then the last urge for you all around the P, the PACER, is original thought leadership. So I want to make sure that you all see the power of video. Video is bananas on LinkedIn. I know many of you don't have videographers, but if you have a marketing team that is open to creating maybe one video a week, that would be the gold standard. And so in this one single video, right, I had like 56,000 impressions. That's crazy. The impressions again means that that's LinkedIn pushing your content out to users and to your network. Okay. And so you can see on the right-hand side, this was the actual copy that I came up with. So I said, every great business strategy is built on 3 timeless principles: customer obsession, operational excellence, continuous innovation, right? So there's content there, a short little minute and 13-second video. You could record these in your car. You could record these walking. They don't have to be polished at all. It's more about talking about how you're an expert in your space. All right. Aiming for 1 to 2 posts per week is ideal. And again, that one video a week would be great because again, a lot of users are consuming content on the mobile app. All right. Another part about LinkedIn posts, I don't know if many of you, if you know this, there's a section on LinkedIn, the analytics section, that is powerful, powerful metrics and insights around what's happening on your profile. So when you go to the analytics section, you can see profile views, you can see post impressions, and you can see search appearances. So the profile views, obviously we know that's who's checking out your profile. The post impressions is going to tell you who's engaging with your post, and then the search appearances are going to see are going to tell you how many people are searching for someone like you and if you're appearing in the results. The main reason why most of you need to look at your LinkedIn profile and audit it is to make sure that it's optimized so that you're coming up in the search results more and more and more. That's the purpose of optimizing your profile. So when I work with clients on just simply their LinkedIn makeovers, that's what we're aiming for. And what we want to see over time is these analytics going up. If you go to that analytics section, you have the option to, again, customize the time frame and how you're looking at the analytics. You can also select down here, I'll show you down here, right? The timeline can be custom, goes back a year, 90 days, 28 days, 14 days, or 7 days. And then you can also get the rundown around your impressions. Again, that's how many people see your content, and the engagements are how many people are actually reacting or commenting or reposting. All right. So common mistakes. Number one, not clearly defining your niche or your value proposition. If you know competitors out there, it's your job to present what sets you apart from the crowd. Another piece that is commonly on LinkedIn is if I go to your LinkedIn profile, I'm thoroughly confused about your offers. I don't really understand the outcome that I'm going to achieve. The pricing model is confusing. So make sure that's easy for someone to understand. Third is posting inconsistently. We talked about that, but then also sharing kind of this generic non-client focused content. You know, at the age of AI, people can figure out that you're using AI to write your post. I try very hard not to have any like emoticons, emojis, like all that is just, to me, it's very distracting. And it also is just like a lot of AI triggers for me. The other piece is, even though the bold and the italics make you feel like, oh, this is cool, I'm making this look really neat, that also is dinged by LinkedIn. So I would stay away from those tools that are helping you write in the format that you might be wanting to personalize it a little bit. You know, again, not spending some time on LinkedIn analytics and then not understanding the sales cycle. We're all in sales, but this is just a reminder. Clients are only going to buy when these three things are clear to them. They know and like and trust you. So that would be me, Jessica, right? The sales lady. Then they are bought into your method. That would be the PACER method that I'm sharing with you today. And then my offer is super clear, the LinkedIn Sales Accelerator, right? So those three things have to be checkbox for every line before someone says yes. So let me ask you this, right? When was the last time you posted content that clearly positioned your value? Did it attract or repel the right people? Go ahead and drop that in the chat. I want to see attract or repel. And then as you all are chatting those responses, I want to brag on one of our leaders, Denise. I kind of shouted her out a little earlier with a post, but Denise landed a $135K international B2B client deal after her LinkedIn makeover. We worked together, we did all of her repositioning, and she is almost, I mean, she's at capacity, but she's still taking on clients a few months down the road. And so it doesn't have to take a long time for this to work and for you to start to see results. All right, so let me check the chat here. Again, I know some folks may have to drop off early. If what I'm saying is resonating with you and you're saying, I know I need to create a lead gen and a sales system using LinkedIn for myself or for the company that I work for, go ahead and book some time with me. My Calendly is in the chat. I am jumping in the chat to see what is happening here. Can I see? I don't see any responses. Am I not seeing them because I'm not a host, maybe?
I'm not sure, but there's a lot of attract. People are attracting or typing in attract very, very rigorously.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, good. Okay, as long as they're coming in, I can't see them, but we'll cover it a little bit. Okay. Okay, good stuff. So that is important that you think about attract and repel, right? And if you're attracting them, way to go. I'm super proud of you for doing that, but stay consistent. Time block on your calendar to get those posts done. Okay, now let's move into A, audience, right? So this is building the right network. I want to drop another poll here to gauge what challenges are amongst us today. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to building the right LinkedIn network? Is it finding and connecting with true decision makers? Is it getting responses from and engaging new connections? Is it turning your network into opportunities, or is it knowing who to remove or avoid in your network?
So the poll's out there, Jessica, and
I see.
turning my network into real opportunities is it's the
Oh,
runaway
yeah.
leader so far.
It's
And
winning. I see it, 47%.
and that's the main reason why people view. Again, we have a lot of people on today's Selling Essentials workshop who are in the B2G, business to government
Right.
space. And most of the people, I'm looking at their names, are in sales. And usually they're in uh, the roles of scheduling appointments or following up, or finding where opportunities might be, or explaining contract vehicles to customers. So they definitely need to connect, and with a lot of partners too. We talked about B2B and B2G, but there's also a lot of interactions with partners, right?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, we can end that poll and show the results. Thank you all for participating. I think we have 74% participation. I want to see that up to more so 100 by the end of our polls today. So if you are able to join in our polls, please do. The responses are very helpful. So, okay, turning my network into real opportunities is the front runner. Then it's getting responses from and engaging new connections, then followed by finding and connecting with true decision makers, and then knowing who to remove or avoid in my network. Okie dokie. Well, let's jump right on in, right? The key here is you got to audit and optimize your LinkedIn network for relevance. Show you how to do that in just a second. The second part is, how do you connect with high value buyers and partners and power referrals, right? Like, you all should be getting referrals just as much as you should be hunting as well. The other piece here is curating that circle of influence that's supporting your revenue goals. And then don't forget to re-engage with your new or old connections. I'll even add that in here, right? Old connections over time. I was just having a conversation with someone that's in sales yesterday night. And I said, well, how's your pipeline doing? And she goes, oh, I just don't like being told no. And I went, like, what are you talking about? Now, here's the thing. You cannot be afraid of rejection, because in my mind, the no is just simply not right now, right? We know that we've set goals. We're going to get some no's, but I care about the yeses. I care about when the no turns into a yes when the problem is relevant. And that circles back to the positioning into the post, that someone will say, oh, I'm so glad that you reached out. This was the perfect time. I just got budget for this, or I've just been thinking about this. So please don't worry about getting a no or no thank you with your in-person, offline efforts or your online efforts through LinkedIn. It's going to happen, but we care about the yeses. Okay. So first things first, when you are doing the A of the PACER model, you've got to analyze your LinkedIn profile views and your searches. I would suggest that you start over the last 90 days. So my picture has 365 days, but you can do the drop down like I showed you earlier, and there's a 90-day drop down. And in that, you're looking to see, is your followership going up? Is it staying the same? Is it going down? Right? I'm really excited that I've got almost a 50% boost since last year. That means I'm doing something right. So that's exciting. The other thing that I think is really neat in this section is you can start to see demographics around the followers, the people that are actually in your network. So they could be a follower, or they could be actually a first connection. So in my network, I've got 25% of my network would be considered senior level. That's great. Those are key decision makers, right? I've got 23% of my top followers in hospitals and healthcare. Wonderful. That's great too. That's one of the industries that I focus on, right? And then I've got 16% of people in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. Perfect. That makes sense, right? That's where I'm from. That's born and raised. So that's a few insights. So I check out that section if you haven't viewed that in a while. That's really great insights. Now we want to audit your actual LinkedIn network. So you want to navigate to the Manage My Network icon and go to your connections section, right? Your connections are going to be different than your followers. They're always going to be off a few. So I have about 13,000 connections, and then I have 14,000 followers. So around 900 people are following me and they see my content, but I can't message them directly. I can't send them, I can't see their email address in my profile, right? I could choose to send them a connection request, or I could allow them to follow me for eons, right? Your choice. But followers could be honestly some new connections that you could make very easily. Because when you're networking, I don't know if you all use the QR code, and everyone's going around, they see the QR code and they're like, touch, touch, touch. Most people touch the follow. Don't do that. Have them connect with you. That's the 3 dots, and then you connect, because the connection actually gives you access to their contact information. All right. So that's a good quick tip that's on the fly, not even in the prepared presentation. So if I go to my network and I'm looking at my connections and I check out my followers, I want to see who's in that group. I want to see what the titles are. I want to see what states they are in, what industries they're in. I'm doing a lot of filtering to kind of get a sense of who's in my network. And if you go into your network and you go, half of these people don't even, they're not my people, right? Like this is not my audience. This is not who I need to be. Feel free to remove them. It's okay. They will not know. And what you want to do is make sure you have a curated group of key decision makers. I'd rather you have less people in your network that are the right people versus a large amount of people that aren't necessarily your ideal customer, right? So the other piece here, I know if you can see groups being right underneath that following and followers section, there are groups on LinkedIn and many folks are not joining them. And I don't know why, but I just went and I said, look, if we're doing B2B and B2G here, let me show you. I just did a random search. Look at this group: U.S. government contracting, procurement, acquisition, training, and reform for federal contracts. Look at the number of members in here. Private listed, 9,400 members in here. You don't think that you might find some people that are doing government contracts and we could swap contacts and talk about the things that we do? Now, this is not a place for you to be posting ads and services and all of that, but you can get connections and you can start to find potential customers or people that have influence within an organization that you might need to broker a relationship with. After you connect with, so after you look through your first connections, after you look through your followers, after you join some groups, now I want you to think about re-engaging with your first connections. I cannot stress how often this is overlooked in sales. We might have gotten to know a year ago. Go back and re-engage with them, right? So I just did a quick search, right? I connect with Chief Human Resources officers pretty regularly because I'm trying to say, hey, is your workforce a brand ambassador workforce that can amplify what the company is doing? If not, maybe I can come in and do a corporate training on LinkedIn branding. That's one reason why I like to connect with chief HR officers. I'm also in the HR space. I also provide outplacement and career transition services, and then also executive leadership coaching. So like, these are my people. And if I just do a search for chief human resources and I put first connections, right? These are people that I already have in my network. I come up with pages. Look at this. At the bottom, the page results, 25 pages of people that fall into that search criteria. There's no shortage of leads on LinkedIn. That's why I'm showing you this, right? So if we were to re-engage our first connections, now I want you to then add ideal clients to your network using a custom prospecting search. So this is, again, without Sales Navigator, we can go in and say, look, if I'm looking for, I'm in B2G, I need to be talking to procurement officers. They need to know me. They need to know what my company does. They need to know the client wins that we've had. So I'm going to go look for some procurement officers, just that easily. And again, I found this quick search and it was a lot, pages, it was like 100 pages. And you can see Chief Procurement Officer at Dave & Buster's, Chief Procurement Officer at Georgia Department of Transportation, Procurement Officer at Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, Chief Procurement Officer at GoDaddy. Well, all right there, right? I think those are key decision makers that I would want in my audience. Give me a thumbs up if this looks good, right? If these people look like they are in positions that you could get some traction with actually introducing your products and your offerings. All right. So when I think about sample B2G lead prospecting, again, I took that search right from up here. My keyword search was procurement officer. I found someone that I thought, okay, this is good. Now, again, Babatunde doesn't have a cover photo, and that's okay. I will have intervention with him later, but he is procurement chief. And right now, he has a LinkedIn profile that shows he's got an about section. So he's cared enough to put his about information in there. I can see that he's been active recently, which is great. Again, he's commenting on a post. Congratulations to the family. Great perspective, Director Cattler, right? Congrats. So he's more on the reactionary, probably not creating a lot of original thought leadership. That's okay. All I care about in this is that he's been active recently. 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Perfect, right? And then I'm just double checking to see his experience, right? And he currently is working for a defense, counterintelligence, and security agency, DCSA, right? Now, please, everybody, do not go attack Mr. Babatunde's LinkedIn profile, but I wanted to make sure that you saw there is leads on this platform that are active, that are showcasing they are in decision-making roles. Now, if we pivot it to Sales Navigator, if you have Sales Navigator, drop in the chat, yes. If your company has sponsored you with an account, if you have purchased it on your own, if you're a solopreneur, I want to hear how many of you all are using that. I can't see that yet. It's probably because I'm not a co-host anymore. That's probably why. I don't know if you can make me a co-host again, Fred.
Yeah, we'll do that. Actually, a lot of people are, oh, revoke. No, you are a co-host. Yeah, a bunch of people are saying no.
Okay.
At one of our big partners. So that's
Okay.
something for them to look into. But a lot of people are saying yes. Most of the no's are coming from people at one particular company.
Okay. I mean, and here's the thing. I believe that you can have success on LinkedIn without Sales Navigator. Again, I don't get paid. I'm not trying to promote it, but if you do have it, know that it is a great tool. And so the key here with LinkedIn prospecting for B2B and for B2G with Sales Navigator is you want to make sure that you are setting up saved searches so that the system can go potential lead, potential prospect, right? Does the work for you so you're not manually scraping. But if you have to, again, manually scrape, I'm talking an hour a day on LinkedIn to find some prospective customers to then reach out to. So this is one of my my saved searches in my platform, right? I like to reach out to presidents, senior directors, senior vice presidents, and directors. I pick my seniority level. The region is North America, US, New York metropolitan area, and a couple of other places. And then I've selected some key industries. So again, and right here, look, it says 132 new results since 8/26. So it is telling me how many people are on the LinkedIn ecosystem that fit my criteria. And then I then go in and say, oh yeah, that's a good potential lead, right? And then I'll create a plan to reach out to them. So here's my challenge to everyone on this call. I don't know how frequent or infrequent you're using LinkedIn, but I wanted to just roll something up in front of you. You probably already know this, but 150 connection requests are gifted to you on LinkedIn. So every week, it would behoove you to burn those every week. I get sad when I hear people don't use these connection requests every week because that is an audience builder that's for free. And once you lose it that week, you can't get it back, right? So it's not like it banks over time. You can just go in and blast 1,000 connection requests, 150 every week. What if you all took on this weekly lead gen activity challenge, okay? Sending out 150 connection requests every week. Let's say that 30% of those are accepted. That means you get 50 new contacts in your LinkedIn every week. That's a total of 200 per month. And let's say 12 agree to a discovery call every month. That is 3 per week. And let's say that you have a 10% close rate. I mean, that's super low, but listen, I want to be conservative with these numbers so that you can feel very excited about trying this activity and this challenge. And let's say on average, your average client deal is $50,000. So if I did that amount of effort, 150 connection requests a week, I had 12 sales calls. 3 of them ended up being clients, right? And then I have a 10% close rate. So that's 1 new client per month. That's $50,000 in monthly sales just from that exercise. Let's continue on and say you're being diligent in expanding your network, and maybe you don't get a sale from some of those calls, but that discovery call turns into a referral and you get a closed deal there. And then one of your posts that you do, let's say you're posting 1 to 2 times a week, which is 8 per month, 4 to 8 posts per month, you get a new client from one of your posts. Now we're talking 3 new clients for the month, right? We have $150,000 in that month, and now we're talking 1.8 million annual revenue from 1 salesperson. Imagine if you had consistent action with your sales team of 3, of 5, of 10, of 20. Do you see the numbers growing? I do. I hope you do too. So this is really important that you see it doesn't have to take a long time. You have to use a system and you have to be consistent with that system. Here's one of the clients that I'm working with now. She landed B2G referrals and B2G paid clients from her LinkedIn network using this Pacer revenue framework. And I want to highlight here, she has less than 1,000 followers. So if Christine can do it, you all can do it. All right. So now let's do a quick breakout activity. I would love for you to get ready to introduce yourself, really quick intros, name, title, org. So if I were to do that, I would say, hi, I'm Jessica Samuels. I am the CEO of Evolve Career, and then you're going to answer these questions right away. 3 questions to share with your partner, so get ready to be put in pairs, and you can launch it as soon as I finish reading out the questions, Andrea. The first question I want you to share is who's actually in your LinkedIn network right now? I know you haven't done an audit, but you can probably think about who's sent you connection requests and who you've been sending connection requests to. Think about that. Then I want you to think about, are these people in your LinkedIn network potential clients, or are they just passive connections? And then third, have you been diligent to add old colleagues and business contacts as LinkedIn connections? So let's take about 8 minutes in these breakout rooms. Again, 1 minute to intro, 3 minutes to share, and then you're going to flip. The other person is going to do an intro, and then 3 minutes to share, and we'll pull you back. So we'll pull you back at the 7-minute mark so we can get everybody back at 8. Thank you, Andrea. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that quick partner share. The fun part of LinkedIn is you can take baby steps. I think one of our gentlemen that spoke in the breakout rooms, he was actually hanging out in the main room with us. And he mentioned that, gosh, social media terrifies me. And I forgot to tell you all that I'm reformed. I'm telling you, I was never going to be on social media. I do not have a desire to be on it at all, but I started to realize that this, again, is a tool that if I'm going to take my sales role seriously, I have to use it. I have to treat it like it's a CRM, not a social media platform, right? And any person in sales would go, well, of course you use your CRM, right? So try to look at it as a business development tool, not as a social media platform, and less about you being, the influencer of the world. It's more around, hey, I want to find my ideal customers and I know that they are here. Okay, so hopefully that can help you. And again, we go into baby steps. No one's saying you've got to do everything I'm sharing today overnight, because that would be virtually impossible. So thank you for engaging in that exercise. Some of the common mistakes, again, connecting with no one at all, or connecting with everyone instead of really getting focused and targeted on your key decision makers. Not re-engaging with your current network to generate new business or to ask for referrals, and ignoring your LinkedIn inbox or connection requests, right? Some folks are like, oh gosh, I haven't logged into LinkedIn in a month. I'm like, yeah, right. You can miss deals, you can miss opportunities if you do that. So try to commit to what I call a LinkedIn power hour, where you're checking your inbox daily for a few minutes, You're reacting to a few posts and you're sending a few new connection requests or messages to your existing network. Okay.
What'd you say?
Oh, hello. Somebody's off mute. I said LinkedIn is the tool for the day. That's what I said. Okay. All right. So type new in the chat if you're committed to adding 150 to 200 new decision makers to your LinkedIn network in the next 30 days. All right. Type new. New. We are expanding our network. All right. So I'm going to fly through these next ones because I cannot believe we're like literally almost out of time. Maybe I created a 4-hour workshop and not an hour and a half, but that's okay. C, conversations and conversion. So this is all about lead client generating outreach and discovery calls. So the third poll here, what's the biggest challenge you face with client generated conversations on LinkedIn? Is it starting outreach without sounding salesy? Is it getting decision makers to respond or book a call with you? Is it running effective? And I don't know if our poll's live, Fred or, okay, perfect, yep. Running effective discovery calls that convert? Is it moving from conversation to closed deal? When you don't have the all of the above option, I'm sorry, but I'd love to hear what's going on with the C of the PACER model.
Well, the runaway winner so far is starting outreach without sounding salesy.
Yes, I knew that was going to be the winner.
Yeah, so far, and then
We
slightly.
are all getting the slaps of the messages like, don't you want my products and my services shoved down your throat? And it is unfortunate because that's not the way to do it.
Yeah, even when you have the relationship, a lot of people we know about what we call those, connect and pitch.
Yeah.
Can we help you get more LinkedIn connections or things like that? But even when you're engaged,
Yeah.
there's also the sensitivity about communicating the right way and
Absolutely.
being a value added partner with not just your customers but your partners, et cetera. So
Exactly. Yeah, that's not the way to do it. So when we think about marketing funnel basics,
Oh,
right? There's the top of the funnel. There's them. Somebody is off mute. If you all could mute yourselves, so you're no longer, I don't know, Andrea, if we could do that, that'd be helpful. So marketing funnel basics, top of funnel, right? There's top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Before we start to talk about the C and PACER, we have to think about, again, let's go back to top of funnel is really, again, your profile is a beautiful billboard of who you are, what organization you work for, and how you help your clients, right? Then we layer the profile positioning with the LinkedIn post. So that's top of funnel, increasing brand awareness. Then the middle of the funnel is the free training or the formal event, or maybe you have a lead magnet, a quiz, a ebook, a guide. And then there's also speaking opportunities and getting in front of your ideal audience within another organization. And then there's the bottom of the funnel where we actually have the networking calls, formal discovery sales calls, and then also nurturing your lead list. So if we look at marketing funnel basics and we talk about these C's, first and foremost, we got to make sure it's easy for people to book time with us. So again, I want to stress here in your contact info, have your booking link there, right? Because not only will that pop up when people go to your contact info section, but then you also see this book an appointment. I don't know if you remember me mentioning that custom button earlier in my social card section. That link hangs out at the top of the post. So when I mentioned to you that some of my posts, I get a direct booked call from, this is why. I'm making it easy for my clients to find me, right? Direct messages. So we really want to think about this, the LinkedIn outreach basics, the framework to go from connection to client without sounding salesy. Number one, customize your connection request. Like actually look at each profile and write a genuine message. Get to know them through a compliment and a question in your first message. Offer to give genuinely before you make any ask, and then ask a question a day that relates to uncovering 3 things: their priorities, their current problems, and past solutions that they've tried. This is conversational. This is called conversational intelligence. And then offer to share what's working with clients you're already working with, and the no pressure call. That is how we get calls booked. And I do that all day, every day, and teach people how to do that as well. Right? So ideally, you want this direct message conversation to last 7 days or less. Within a week, you are booking a call with them and you are meeting them within that week too, right? In that confirmation email, I want you to embed some testimonials and maybe even some pre-work, because pre-selling works. I've had people jump on calls with me and they're like, I already know I want to work with you because I've watched the pre-work video, I've went to your testimonials page, and I've read your profile, I've read your old post. Like, I just wanted to make sure that I was a good fit for you. Here's our problem. Can you solve it? They're ready to buy. So I can't stress that enough. Discovery call, right? B2B can happen in one. I've had a call last week. I closed a B2B deal in one call. Usually it may take 2 to 3 calls, right? And I've done this with tech orgs, hospitals, universities, nonprofits, and more. So you close the deal on the first call, or you're booking that next call to actually share a custom pitch with them. You're sending a follow-up email and you're closing the deal on the second or third call. So the common mistakes here, right? Pitching too early, without context, ghosting leads in your LinkedIn inbox, not tracking the activity, not sharing third-party credibility, avoiding sales conversations altogether, right? You're looking at your marketing people going, you all are supposed to bring the leads, the funnels and the product launches and the websites and the email campaigns. And I'm supposed to sit back and wait for my calendar to fill up as a salesperson. Like, nope, you got to go find the people, build relationships. And then the last thing, I used to be guilty of this, but I've completely improved, which is not nurturing your cold and your hot leads long enough, right? So we've got to do that better. An example of a B2C prospect, I connected with them on June 17th. They responded. I connected again. I sent another message June 18th. Then on July 4th, they responded. And then I had a call with them a few days. So that's what, June 18th, July 4th, 2 to 3 weeks, right? So people won't instantly respond to you, but they will over time. And that's when we get the conversation. Another B2B prospect, right? I reached out. She then instantly says, hey, thanks for reaching out. I'm 30 days away from hosting this crazy conference. Here's some dates and times that I'd love to meet with you. Why does this woman think that I should meet with her? Or why is she even giving me the time of day? I'm sure that she saw my profile and I'm sure she read a post of mine. Guarantee it, right? So if you have ever been ghosted after sending a message, drop it in the chat. I want to hear from you. And again, if this is resonating with you, if you feel like you need a lead gen and a sales system for yourself or for your company, go ahead and book some time with me. I'd love to talk through strategy with you. The E and events, right? It's all about, we'll hold off on the polls for now because I know we're short on time. So this is, again, speaking, workshops, and lives, LinkedIn Lives to drive visibility. The biggest thing here is to use LinkedIn Lives. Even if you do an event once a week, once a month, once a quarter, it is huge. It's the biggest lead generator on the platform. And again, it allows you to curate leads very easily for free, and you can nurture them over time. So the key here is to get in front of your ideal audience and fill your funnel, present that irresistible offer, create an overall event strategy, right? Like if you know, okay, now that I'm thinking there's 1 billion users, there's 2.9 million federal folks on LinkedIn, create an event strategy with topics, the dates, the times, and market to those people. And then you want to set goals and metrics around RSVPs, attendees, booked calls, and sales. So common mistakes around that are only attending events instead of hosting them or co-hosting them, right? Not creating that elevator pitch so that you can introduce yourself if you're going to an in-person event. When you are on LinkedIn, you don't have that contact info easily shared. When you're going to events, you're not collecting the information, you're not connecting on LinkedIn. After the event, you're not doing follow-up long enough or at all. And you're not sharing your learning moments when you've gone to conferences and events. So that is an opportunity that is truly missed. So for a self-reflection exercise, when was the last time that you spoke live or taught something publicly? Was it easy for the audience to connect with you afterward? Did you communicate with your audience how they could work with you? And then what visibility on LinkedIn could you be missing out on based on what I've shared so far? And this is an example of an event, right? I hosted an event. So if you're in an organization, you all as a team say, what are some of the constant questions that we're getting from our prospects? Oh, it's that, design an event around it, right? And then you can host it just from this one event that I hosted, little old me, 267 registrants, RSVPs. Those are all leads that I didn't have before I did this event, right? So I have the opportunity to get in front of them, and I have the opportunity to nurture them, right? These results, B2B partnerships, right? Healthcare and hospice and healthcare and hospitals information, organizations, nonprofit organizations. I've landed conferences and community speaking gigs through this, right? Depends on your goals. I've landed speaking opportunities with organizations like Women Business Leaders and Women in Bio, at Breaking in the Boardroom. So chat quickly if you can promise me that you're open to potentially doing an event, or you're already hosting or speaking at events. Type speak in the chat. And then R, revenue systems. So this is really all about, right? How can you build scalable revenue systems to help you sell better with technology? So when I think about this, it's all about, again, we talked about the importance of that offer and your product pricing model. But if you don't have a sales ladder where you can have people have maybe a lower ticket offer and then a mid ticket and then a high ticket offer, you might want to think about that in terms of being able to sell on LinkedIn. The other piece here is building that credibility kit with marketing assets to share with prospective clients, using AI and LinkedIn to research prospective clients and their organizations before those sales calls, and then automating things like call scheduling, follow-up communications, client onboarding, and client payments, right? We should not be chasing invoices. This should all be automated. And then using technology and systems to build those templates for the proposals, for our standard operating procedures, our SOPs, so that we can grow and we can scale without burning out. So an example of a credibility kit, I'll drop this in the chat, right? When anybody books a call with me, they're going to get redirected to, if I could get this chat open, that would be lovely. I don't think I can chat. My powers are gone.
We'll put it in the chat for you.
I don't think you have it.
Yeah, I see it right there. We'll put it in the chat.
Oh, okay,
right
you
now.
got it. Okay, you can see it. Thank you, thank you. Right, so if you can see that, right, it's going to redirect you to this page. And this is an asset, right, that I've given instructions for people to do, like watch a short video, accept the appointment, maybe do something else, right? That is called pre-selling, right? The other piece here is we want to use LinkedIn recommendations to capture client testimonials. That is huge. Everyone singing your praise is better than you saying, I'm the best, we're the best. So let other people do that for you. And then the other piece here is in the LinkedIn profile there, you can add a services section where you can add maybe a short company overview video or a service product overview. And you can create some testimonials here, and you can highlight, maybe you've got some reviews from past clients, right? So I have 5 stars, which is pretty cool. And then the other piece here is your direct messages and your combos pre-call research. So you can see here a client we're actually closing a deal pretty soon. I just met her July 29th, right? July 30th, we're talking. Next thing you know, she says, I am interested in learning more about what you do, right? Booked a call. So then I went into the Sales Navigator and I did some research around her as the individual, right? And AI is helping me see who this person is so I can use those insights when I actually meet with her. And I'm doing some research about the organization. And what's really neat about Sales Navigator is now they're giving us AI tools that we can put our products and services in the tool, and then AI can say, oh, Johnson & Johnson could leverage what you do this way and this way and this way, right? So it's pretty neat how AI is helping us become smarter with what we're doing, right? So you can see here, I plugged in some of my services, and then it popped out 3 ways your product can help Johnson & Johnson, right? And that's a B2B client that I'd love to do business with, right? So at this point in time, ask yourself this question: how easy is it for someone to book time with you, to pay you, to get onboarded, or to send you a referral? So quickly, I'm going to recap. We have spent some time together today. I hope that you're walking away more familiar with the PACER revenue framework. It is P, positioning and post, right? A, audience. C, conversations and conversions. E, events. And R, revenue systems, right? So you know the PACER framework now, right? And it is important that you realize you can do this with the right system. Not to say you have to use all of the letters, but some of them are going to be important for you to see results on LinkedIn. So book time with me if that makes sense. Some of you might say, I've got some questions about how we could work together. Pretty simple. If you need a LinkedIn makeover, if you realize, good gracious, I am embarrassed that anyone is looking at my LinkedIn, don't worry. I can help you optimize it so that you bring in more leads, more deals, more everything. Or you might want more support beyond the LinkedIn makeover, and a formal LinkedIn Sales Accelerator coaching program is available to you. So this is, again, the two options here. The one-to-one program is private. I have only 3 slots for that. And then I have a group coaching program starting in October. Registration would be ending September 19th. And I can definitely give some information around that. I don't know if you can drop this link in as well. There's a client testimonial. So I'm not sure if you can do that, Fred. But
Yeah, a little tough.
yeah. And I think I mentioned this, right? Yes, 10 seats in the group coaching track. And some questions that folks most time ask me. Let me see if I can chat. Can I chat again? No, still can't do it. Let's see, main chat. Okay, there we go. That's the chat there. And then if you all need to get the flyer, you can grab that as well. All right. So some questions around kind of LinkedIn. Usually folks after this session are like, what do I do? Right? What if my team doesn't have a LinkedIn content or engagement strategy in place, right? What I will do is I'll start with an audit. I'm going to help you build that framework from scratch so that the system works, whether you're new to this or that you're optimizing, right? How does it apply if we're focused on enterprise or government accounts, not just general B2B? So LinkedIn, again, is where all those decision makers are, both enterprise or government. They're vetting their vendors through this tool. So these strategies, again, are applicable through B2B as well as B2G. The other piece is, what's the typical investment required for a sales or marketing team each week? You know, I would say 2 to 3 hours per week. If you really want to be committed, 5, with, again, that LinkedIn Power Hour once a day per team member. And this is going to be, again, using structured workflows, posting calendars, and engagement blocks. Is LinkedIn really enough to influence deals, or should it only be a part of a larger go-to-market strategy? So I truly believe LinkedIn is a pipeline driver in terms of bringing in new clients and new customers. But if it is broadly woven into the larger go-to-market strategy, it's going to be better. It's going to help you with marketing, sales, and those partnerships. And then the last question most folks ask me is around results, right? How do we measure the ROI with our LinkedIn activities? I can teach you how to do that, again, by looking at visibility, conversations, and ultimately the revenue impact that we're hoping to achieve. So that is all for today. I know we've probably got some questions that I did not see, so we can open it up for Q&A. And if you are jazzed about LinkedIn, if I have converted you, because I was converted years ago when I had to start leading sales and didn't feel confident about doing that on social media. If you've had some light bulbs today, go ahead and drop growth in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't dropped your LinkedIn handle, I'd love to get that so we can get connected, and I'll follow you personally. And if you want a free gift around the LinkedIn DM outreach system that I've built that helps book calls, that helps my clients book calls and converts leads, go ahead and send me an email. It's jessica@evolvecareer.com, subject line free LI training, and then I'll send that your way. All right, let's stop playing small. It's time to get busy on LinkedIn. So we are here to sell, and I would really love to scale together. All right, what questions do you all have for me? And I'll turn it over to Fred and Gina for closeout.
Yeah, we're gonna unshare your screen and we're gonna open up. We'll stay here for another 15 minutes. So Jessica, that was really fantastic. A lot of great content there. And so if anybody
Yeah.
wants to come on and ask questions, we'll be here for another 15 minutes. I want to thank everybody who participated. I want to remind people that our next Selling Essentials workshop is going to be on October 10th at Carasoft on AI for selling effectiveness. And the day before, October 9th, is the Women in Sales Leadership Elevation Conference. It's going to be
Yes.
at the DoubleTree Hotel in Tysons. Gina, do you want to talk about that for a second or two?
Yeah, yeah. And it's this year's conference is all about showing women exactly how they can make sure they're part of their company's AI strategies, why it's important to have our voices be part of what your company's doing with AI, and how you can use it to improve sales. So it's going to be a really important and fun day. And reach out to me directly. Also, Jessica, um, Scott has information too about it. So let us know if you have any questions. And I really hope you can join us because it's going to be a great day. Lots of learning, lots of opportunities for growth. And I can tell you that Jessica is really using it too, Jessica Samuels. And she knows how to make it work on LinkedIn too. So lots of crossover strategies here.
Jessica, actually, Stephen just made a point, but you've definitely given him a drive to be more involved with LinkedIn on a day-to-day basis. Again, you mentioned in the very beginning, this is Fred Diamond, by the way, with the Institute for Effective Professional Selling. And you and I have been on LinkedIn for over 17 some odd years. And one thing that's recently happened is Gina and I do the Sales Game Changers podcast. And whenever we do a new show, of which you, of course, were a guest on, we do a LinkedIn post. Typically, Gina runs the Women in Sales leadership shows, and I do the standard shows. And when we do a podcast, we post it on LinkedIn, in addition to Apple and YouTube, etc. And one of the fun things is I've noticed when I post a show with someone who's also been around for X number of years, people from the past life, as they say, will see that and will comment, which has led to a lot of re-engagement. And one thing that's interesting about the B2G marketplace is a lot of people in sales have been in that market most of their career. So for the people on Carasoft here, there may be people that you're going to be connecting with that have been in your industry for 10, 15, 20 years. Maybe they were with a company that was a partner at Carasoft at one point, and they're going to come back, or they're with a different partner because their company has been acquired or whatever it might be. So, it's really not just for new connections. I liked what you said before about reigniting older connections. You're on mute.
I said, well said. Yeah, it's so important. I think, and I think there's also this perception that LinkedIn you have to feel like you're hustling, right? Like there's so many things to do and I got to post and I got to do all these things. It's like, just be strategic, right? If you engage with maybe 5 leaders that are innovators in your space, right? Then react to their post, right? Maybe you're not ready to create thought leadership on your own, but I would argue if you have a client win, or if you are seeing progress, again, if you not the sale, yeah, that's a win, but follow up with the sales and see what's working once you've started working with them. Because that, again, that third party credibility is just huge. But I can't stress it enough. You find people, they're like, oh, at one of my clients the other day, I said, how you doing? She said, I asked her, I said, how's pipeline? My clients hate me because I go like, how's pipeline, And I asked them that because I want to hear how it is, right? I want to hear how many new connections, how many leads, how many booked calls, how many proposals have you put out? And one of my clients said, Jessica, you will never believe what happened, because I have to convince people that this works. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay, because I wasn't a believer of social media before, but this works. And I said, all right, so did you reach out to your, 150 people a week? She's like, 150 is a lot. I did reach out to 50. And I was like, and And she said, do you know the CEO of XYZ company said, I am so glad that you reached out to me. I was just thinking about hiring someone like you.
Wow.
That's great.
Booked call the next day, hired a week later.
Yeah. So we have a question here, but I want to
Yeah.
make another point for the Carasoft people. One thing I would urge you to do is connect with people at your customer, at your partner company. And whenever someone from your partner posts, I see this all the time. Someone from a company will post a win or a new product announcement or, a new hire or something, and I'll see zero engagement, zero likes, zero comments. If I were you, Carasoft people, when you see someone from your partner uh, post, at least like it and maybe even put in a comment saying, this is great for the industry or something like that. We do have a question here. It says, how do you handle follow-ups on LinkedIn if they don't respond? So that's a great question. Thank you very
Mhm.
much. And that's from Cinnamon. So I guess my follow-up to that is, you know, how often do you then, let's say someone does connect with you and you want to meet with them or discuss what they may have going on. And you use the word ghosting before, but people may have other distractions in lives and et cetera. But what
Right.
is
Yeah.
your suggestion for how aggressive should you work on the follow-up? And thank you, Cinnamon, for the question.
Thank you so much for that question. And no apologies needed. I actually didn't touch on that. So I really appreciate it. So here's the thing. I think if you are B2B, B2C, and B2B, the answer is going to be different. I think generally speaking, you do not want to do and we've all probably experienced it, right? You get a message like 5 seconds after you get, and let's just put it out there, right? There's all these tools, AI, and I use them, but I use them smart, and no one knows that I'm spamming them, right? Like I'm not spamming them. I am genuinely connecting with my target audience, but the conversations that I'm having with them are me genuinely talking to them, right? So I say, let's start there. So follow up has to be spaced out. I know I hate it. I hate it. I know, Gina, I know you hate it. The conversations have to be the messages that you follow up after the connection says, yes, I'm a connection, have to be spaced out. I think what's appropriate is once a week. I see people, I've heard people do, 7 times in 14 days, kind of like they kind of just want to burn through the lead and like move on to the next. And that's where it gets into this, I'm hustling. I personally, to Fred's point, believe that if we're trying to reach key decision makers, they are busy. They may not be checking their inbox on LinkedIn every single day. So chill out, right? I think that if you want to space out, maybe once a week over a 30-day period, and then once a month after that, it's perfectly fine. Maybe even once a quarter would be fine, right? Because that gets to the nurturing piece. But once you're engaged in a conversation, that's when you want to make sure that it's literally like checking the inbox every day, like it's your email. Because you ask a question, they're going to respond, and you're like, oh, so that's their problem. So thanks for sharing that with me. How's this going? Right? Because I'm literally starting to pre-qualify people in the LinkedIn DM. And then once they're answering those questions, I'm like, you know what? It probably makes sense for us to hop on a call, like super casual. They've been chatting to me all, like it's no pressure at this point. I think I have some ideas that could help you. Would you want to jump on a call so I can share what's working with other clients that I'm working with? Right? That's it. So we want to be consistent with the responses when we start having conversations, when they respond back to our first question. But in terms of them not responding, space it out a week. You could even do every 10 days. But when they start to engage, engage. Don't leave them, don't ghost the potential lead.
There's a question here, Jessica. Someone says, should I be removing connections? And actually, that's actually coming from a different place here. I've seen that a couple times where
Yeah.
people, by the way, there's a very good Reddit thread on LinkedIn. So if people here ever spend time on Reddit, you may want to check out that as well. But someone once asked recently if they should be culling their connections and
Calling or telling.
see you
See you. Yeah.
LL, kind of like removing ones that, and actually,
I
uh,
do think that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
It's a
just kind of
part of the
curious.
A. It's a part of the A and the PACER model as an audience, right? You want to make sure that you are having the right people. And if you notice that you maybe you switch industries, you were in hospitality, now you're in tech, right? It's not to say that we're going to remove them, but if you have noise in your network, because again, it's going to be pushing your content to those people. And if those people don't need what you offer, that could be affecting your engagement with your posts and your content.
Jessica, can you do you know, because you alluded to it earlier, s- LinkedIn platform changes its algorithms like all the time. And just when you think you've got it figured out, something changes and then you stop seeing people stuff. So I imagine that people are stopping to see, they're not seeing my stuff anymore either. Are there tricks to that around that?
No, I mean, here's the reality, right? The only thing that we can do is when I say stay up to speed with what the algorithm is doing, I'm going to take in what the algorithm is doing today, but I can't beat the algorithm. I'm not trying to figure it out every single day and like, oh, if I do that or that or that, like I know the algorithm doesn't like the bolds and the italics and the fonts, right? It doesn't like anything that looks like it's not Jessica writing it. So
Ah,
Fred, you mentioned earlier around, the algorithm wants real content, right? So why does it go gangbusters over your personal updates? Because it knows only Fred could write that, right? So it's not to say that we don't care about trying to figure out the algorithm. You can experiment. And this is all about piloting. You might experiment about posting times, posting days of the week, adding a picture of yourself to the images, maybe doing a carousel, right? You can experiment and pilot. And again, it's less about the algorithm and more about when we go back to our analytics, what are our analytics showing us?
okay, good.
I hope that
That's good
answered that
knowledge.
question.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Okay, good. That was a great question, Gina. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank
I'm
you.
I'm fired up. Are y'all ready to get on LinkedIn and make some money?
We have another question here,
Yes.
which someone says, should we be spending time on LinkedIn over the weekend? So that's interesting. Do you see any engagement shifting happening? I mean, it's obviously less, LinkedIn really does decrease on weekend, which also means there's an opportunity. I've seen some of my posts on weekends have gone through the roof because there's not as much competition, so to speak,
Right.
for eyeballs. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
that's a great question. I would experiment with a Saturday or Sunday post. I think that you're probably going to get more direct message responses over the weekend because again, your busy executives have some time to like go ahead and check their inboxes. So the weekend posting, that's actually a really good pilot. I don't think I've consistently posted over the weekend enough. I do post on holidays, which I get a lot of engagement on holidays, but I haven't done the weekend experiment. So now you're giving me something to think about. But you're right. I mean, logically, there's less traffic, right, on those days. So it might be worth pushing that post out over the weekend and then reposting it during the week. To circle back to the algorithm question that Gina just mentioned, I have heard that reposting the content that you posted maybe 8 to 10 to 12 hours later can also help boost it because again, it could have had its time to shine, if you will. And then if you repost that same post, then it might get a little bit more engagement as well. So I've been experimenting with that because that's a new algorithm hack that I learned. What other questions do we have? You all are quiet. You can come off mute. We won't bite.
All right, well, listen, it looks like we've kind of run down the questions here, but Jessica, I want to thank you for all the great
Welcome.
insights. You've been such a great partner. I also want to let people know that you're part of the Institute for Effective Professional Selling Essentials Marketplace. So we're very excited. We have a very select group of companies that provide valuable services to selling organizations, B2B, B2G, and you're one of a dozen partners that we have hand selected. You're our exclusive LinkedIn service provider partner. So we look forward to getting the word out about the Selling Essentials Marketplace. And thank you for all the great work that you've done at the Women in Sales Leadership Forum. Gina, do you just want to mention when the next forum begins?
Yeah, because we don't have enough going on in that October 8th or 9th and 10th thing. The next leadership forum starts on October 10th. If you haven't been part of it, especially if you're with Carasoft, you all are part of our family of partners that have tickets to or registrations for the forum. So, reach out to whoever might be your sales leader, and perhaps we can get you in. Reach out to me too if you want, and I'll talk to you about it. October 10th.
All right. And once again, October 9th is the Women in Sales Leadership Elevation Conference. And thanks to the scheduling gods, concurrently on October 10th as well, will be our next Selling Essentials workshop that will be hybrid. We'll be at the Carasoft Conference and Collaboration Center and virtual. All right. Once again, thank you, Gina Stracuzzi, Center for Elevating Women in Sales Leadership. Jessica Samuels, thank you so much. And thanks to all of our participants today. We, of course, have recorded this and we'll be reposting it and we'll send it to all of our participants. Thank everybody for participating on today's Selling Essentials Workshop.